I would like to mention the Sioux helicopter sitting below the Huey, the same model I was first assigned to as a crew chief in Vietnam. I had my first helicopter ride in it, a test ride, after I had done maintenance on it. Certain maintenance procedures required a test flight before releasing it to regular missions. Many times, test pilots want the maintenance person to fly along, a way to check their confidence in their maintenance job. When I found out the serial number of this helicopter, I began researching its history. By its number, 65-09667, it was built in 1965 as a UH-1D model that was converted to an H model in 1970. Horsepower went from 1,100 to 1,400 horsepower. Army helicopters have Indian names. The Huey's name is Iroquois, but nicknamed the Huey after the phonetic sound of its original designation, HU-1. I never flew in a Huey, but shared a flight line with a Huey unit, which was close to our hooch, heard and saw them in action almost daily. After Vietnam, I was assigned to the Aviation Training Center at Fort Eustis, Virginia, as an instructor for Army aircraft engines. I have disassembled and reassembled the Huey Lycoming engines many times with students. This Huey was assigned to A Company, 25th Aviation Battalion of the 25th Infantry Division that came to Vietnam in 1966 with the battalion when the battalion came to its new home in Cu Chi, about 25 miles northwest of Saigon. Division came back to the States in 1970. Call sign for this helicopter was Little Bear 667. The types of missions flown by this unit were troop movement, transport commanders in the field, hauling sling loads, Nighthawk, which is taking infrared scope and a huge spotlight along with a minigun capable of 4,000 rounds per minute. This helicopter was hit with small arms fire twice. Here are portions of the reports. On January 8, 1967, the helicopter was landing at an elevation of 10 feet in unknown speed. Helicopter took one hit from small arms automatic weapons, hit in the equipment section, damaging oil systems and engine. The helicopter made a forced landing. It was determined the aircraft was capable of one-time flight. The aircraft was diverted or delayed after completing some mission objectives. The second incident, September 16, 1967. It was a recon mission orbiting at 1,200 feet altitude at 70 knots. Helicopter took two hits from small arms automatic weapons. Was hit in the passenger cargo section and damaging the main rotor systems. Systems damage were to the main rotor system. This helicopter made a precautionary landing at the time. The aircraft was capable of a one-time flight. The aircraft was diverted prior to accomplishing any mission objectives. On September 4th, 1968, it was hit by shrapnel when it was sitting on ground on Fire Support Base Darby. After returning to the United States in 1970, it was assigned to the North Carolina Army National Guard. I-1195 after 2005, it was in the Carolinas Aviation Museum in Charlotte, North Carolina. In 2011, it was at the Sullivan Brothers Iowa Veterans Museum in Waterloo, Iowa. The engine and transmission and rotor were removed, and everything after the cabin was removed, only keeping the cockpit and the cabin preserved. In Vietnam, I was in the 1st Infantry Division. Our area was next to that of the 25th Infantry. When I looked at coordinates where incidents occurred, I reckoned it ST, or Sierra Tango, as being the area we most always flew in. Funny how I can recognize those numbers but can't remember my kids' addresses. Mission types, there's different missions. The first one is carrying troops around. One of the other missions that this group undertook, not necessarily this helicopter, but was called a Nighthawk. They went up in the air at night with infrared and a high power spotlight with a minigun with a capacity of 4,000 rounds per minute. They'd go up, turn the light on and look for enemy on the ground and start firing. After a while, the Viet Cong and them realized what those things did if they shot at them, so they'd avoid shooting at them so they couldn't be located. The other thing it had is it's capable of carrying loads underneath it, hanging from a hook that's right on top of that mounting bracket now. They carried smaller helicopters. As a matter of fact, my helicopter that I was on went down in the field one time, and one of these came and flew out for repair. I guess that's what I have for today. I really appreciate them bringing these helicopters here. The other note, this old one sitting behind it, I didn't even see it right away, but when I came to Vietnam, that was the first one I was crew chief on. It was only for a couple of weeks. I did a little work on it one time, and then they did a test flight. They wanted whoever was working on it to go along to prove that we're comfortable on it. Anyway, after a month, I got this new helicopter that I just told you about that crashed after I left. Thank you for your time.